Welcome to lesson number 5, the last lesson in our unit. Okay, so in this lesson we're going to talk about the author's recommendations. אנחנו נלמד לזהות המלצות של הכותב בתוך הטקסט. We're going to look at definitions again, okay? We can never have too many definitions. We're going to look at the writer's main argument, and we're going to look at this through a multiple choice question. כן, אנחנו נסתכל על שאלת רב ברירה ואיך אנחנו עונים על שאלה מסוג כזה. So let's read paragraph 15. We're towards the end of the text. And try and answer this question. What is the parents' and marketers' responsibility according to the writer? Okay. So what is the responsibility of the parents and the marketers? Read paragraph 15 and try and answer the question. Now, before we answer the question, I want you to notice the sentence. There are no formal ground rules for children as consumers, except the rules that apply to adults. כלומר, אין חוקים לגבי צרכנות של ילדים, ולכן, the word therefore says now the writer is going to give me some sort of recommendation or some sort of result. What happens as a result of that where we don't have any rules for children? So then the writer says parents must be concerned with teaching their children consumer knowledge and skills. Okay? So on the one hand, parents should be responsible, they must be, כן? שימו לב עוד פעם למילים של המלצה, הם חייבים להיות פה, זה אפילו חובה ולא המלצה. While marketers must be concerned with interacting properly with children in what is mainly an adult setting. So marketers also must be concerned, okay? They should be careful in how they interact with children. So these are the responsibilities, according to the writer, of the parents and the marketers. So let's look at this sentence from the text, from paragraph 16. Okay, we have the sentence, advertising, according to many parents, teaches children materialism. So parents are claiming that advertising is teaching children materialism. So now what we want you to do is read paragraph 16 and find the definition of materialism according to the author in paragraph 16. So of course you find the word materialism in the text, okay? It's the middle of paragraph 16. After the word materialism we have a comma, פסיק, שנותן לנו רמז שנקבל הסבר, and also the word which, ש. כלומר, אנחנו נקבלים פה הסבר לגבי what is materialism. So it is to want things for the sake of having them, not because they satisfy a variety of needs, okay? זה בעצם הרצון לרכוש דברים וכשאין באמת צורך להם. So that is the writer's definition of materialism. So this brings us to our last question. What is the writer's main argument in the text? כן, מה הייתה הטענה המרכזית של הכותב לאורך הטקסט? Now, in order to answer the question of what is the writer's main argument, don't forget to read the last two paragraphs. מאוד מאוד חשוב לקרוא את הפסקאות האחרונות של הטקסט, כי אנחנו יודעים ששם נקבל את המסקנות של הכותב. והמסקנות ביחד עם מה שקראתם לאורך כל הטקסט צריכים לחבור ביחד כדי לענות על השאלה הזאת. So what are our options? Remember that in a multiple choice question, שאלת רב ברירה, חשוב לקרוא את כל האופציות לפני שחוזרים לטקסט וקוראים את הטקסט. So A, to claim that past and present theories on children as consumers have changed. כן, לטעון שתיאוריות מהעבר לגבי ילדים כצרכנים השתנו. B, to argue that children should not be encouraged to become spenders and consumers. כן, לטעון שילדים לא צריכים להיות צרכנים ומוציאים של כספים. C, to claim that the marketplace is no place for children. כן, לטעון שהשוק הוא לא מקום לילדים. or D, to argue that parents and marketers should take responsibility in a growing market of child consumers, כן? שההורים והמשווקים צריכים לקחת אחריות על שוק הולך וגדל של ילדים צרכנים. So don't forget to read paragraph 17 and 18 and try and answer the question. So based on paragraph 17 and 18, and together with what you've read throughout the text, of course, I'm sure that you marked the correct answer, which is D. Okay, so throughout the text, the writer's main argument was to show that parents and marketers should take responsibility in a growing market of child consumers. So at the beginning of the text, the writer was showing us that there is a change and that there is an increase in child consumerism. Okay? And the writer also emphasized that it is the parents and the marketers' responsibility to protect children in this growing market. So let's sum up what we've done. Okay? So we identified the writer's recommendations for parents and marketers. כן, ראינו את ההמלצות של הכותב בשביל הורים ומשווקים. We found the definition for key concepts. כן, מצאנו את ההגדרה במקרה הזה ל-materialism. We understood the writer's main argument. כן, הבנו את הטיעונים המרכזיים של הכותב. So for all of you out there, children and adults, it's always good to be wise consumers. Okay, so what were the learning strategies that we focused on today? In our unit, we looked at the pre-reading, we looked at the eye-catching features, we looked at scanning, the relationship between cause and result, comparison and contrast, main idea and examples, the writer's argument, definition, and applying information. וכמובן תוכלו לצפות בכל הסרטונים הבאים המפרטים על אסטרטגיית הלמידה של היחידה הזאת.